the timeless tug-of-war between the power of no and the relentless demands of a world that craves our yes, a conundrum that has long vexed the human spirit. Welcome, my friends, to the latest episode of Guide to Reads, where we dive into the transformative insights of Sunita Sah's masterpiece, Defy, the power of no in a world that demands yes. How often have we found ourselves trapped in that unenviable crossroads, where our deeply held personal values clash with the outside pressures that seek to sway our decisions? In these pivotal moments, the very essence of our character is put to the test, yet summoning the courage to speak up and stand firm in our convictions can feel like an insurmountable challenge. But the keys to unlock this conundrum lie hidden within the realms of organizational psychology, where we discover that our tendency to comply is, in fact, wired into us from the very foundations of our childhood. Yet take heart, for this does not mean that this innate inclination cannot be consciously reshaped and redirected, empowering us to reclaim our time, our energy, and the sacrosanct boundaries that define our authentic selves. The video will introduce you to the Defiance Compass, a practical tool that will guide you on a journey of self-discovery. You will learn to discern the subtle differences between mere compliance and true consent, and you will develop the capacity to live your values when it matters most, even in the face of relentless external pressures. My friends, this is not merely a tale of personal empowerment, but a clarion call to confront the very forces that seek to diminish our agency and obscure our true north. For in mastering the art of saying no, we unlock the door to a life of greater fulfillment, success, and the unwavering conviction to forge our own path, regardless of the winds that may blow. So let us embark on this captivating exploration and arm ourselves with the knowledge and the determination to reclaim our rightful place as the authors of our own destinies. For in the power of no lies the key to unlocking the boundless potential that resides within us all. 1. The price of compliance. The captivating yet deeply troubling tale of Officer Alex Queng, a young law enforcement officer who carried the profound weight of a promise to be different, to make change from within. When Queng joined the Minneapolis Police Department, he believed he could be the bridge, the conduit that would heal the divide between his community and the very institution meant to serve and protect them. Yet, on that fateful third day of active duty, Queng found himself unwittingly participating in one of the most notorious acts of police brutality in modern American history, the killing of George Floyd. This tragic case crystallizes a fundamental tension that lies at the heart of human behavior, the striking gap between how we see ourselves and how we actually behave under the immense pressure of circumstance. During the deadly restraint carried out by Senior Officer Derek Chauvin, Queng checked Floyd's pulse not once but twice and found nothing. Yet he continued to comply. His fellow rookie, Officer Thomas Lane, questioned the restraint technique not just once, but twice, and yet he too remained compliant as Floyd lost consciousness beneath Chauvin's knee. This alarming pattern has been consistently observed in the realm of organizational psychology, where researchers have uncovered the sobering truth that the gulf between our moral self-image and our actual behavior is far wider than we dare to imagine. Whether it's employees staying silent about workplace harassment or patients acquiescing to unnecessary medical procedures, we humans often find ourselves frozen, compelled to comply in situations that demand decisive action. But herein lies the key, my friends, the power to redefine the very meaning of defiance itself. For too long, we have equated defiance with mere disobedience or resistance to authority. But this is an oversimplification, a narrow perspective that fails to capture the true essence of this vital human trait. Defiance is not just about opposing authority. It is about actively aligning your behavior with your personal values, even in the face of overwhelming external pressure. This redefinition shifts the focus from mere reaction to intentional action, from passive resistance to purposeful, principled stand. It acknowledges that true, significant defiance can manifest not just in dramatic confrontations, but also in the quiet, decisive moments of choice that can shape the very fabric of our institutions and societies. The tragedy of George Floyd's killing lies not just in the horrific actions of Chauvin, but in the complicity of those who recognized the wrong, yet felt powerless to intervene. Understanding this pattern, and learning to break it, is a crucial imperative not just for ourselves but for the very foundations upon which our communities and our collective future are built. 2. Roots of obedience. The profound roots of obedience, a journey that begins long before we learn to question the very authority that shapes our lives. My friends, let us delve into this captivating exploration of how our earliest lessons in compliance are forged within the sacred bond between child and parent. For the young and impressionable, our parents and their unwavering guidance are intrinsically linked with the very essence of survival and well-being. And so, these childhood lessons are learned and reinforced through a sophisticated system of biological rewards. When we, as children, obey the directives of our parents and receive that cherished positive feedback, our brains release a surge of dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. This chemical response creates and strengthens the neural pathways that favor obedience, while behaviors that go unrewarded, such as defiance or disobedience, fail to establish similarly strong connections. Each instance of successful compliance further cements these pathways, crafting an increasingly automatic response to the presence of authority. And as we grow older and venture beyond the family unit, we encounter an ever-expanding circle of authority figures in social institutions, from the rigid structures of the schoolyard, with their precise schedules and dress codes, to the complex social hierarchies of our peer groups, where conformity is the key to acceptance. The result is a multifaceted system of compliance training, operating on neurological, psychological, and social levels simultaneously. This sophisticated conditioning serves vital functions, enabling large-scale cooperation, transmitting cultural knowledge, and maintaining social order. Yet, it is this very same system that can make it extraordinarily difficult to recognize when compliance might be inappropriate or even harmful, both to ourselves and to the broader collective. But therein lies the crux of the matter, my friends. For in understanding the profound depths of this programming, we begin to unravel the very reasons why defiance can feel so inherently uncomfortable. We are, in essence, fighting against the very neural wiring that has been painstakingly crafted over the course of our lifetimes, a testament to the extraordinary power of these formative experiences and the crucial need to confront them head-on. 3. Compliance versus consent. When Dr. Sunita Sah's pager buzzed during a meeting with a financial advisor, she didn't expect the interruption to teach her a crucial lesson, one about the nature of choice. Exhausted from a 30-hour shift, she sat in the hospital's plush meeting room while Dan, the advisor, pitched investing in a mutual fund to her. Dan spent nearly an hour building rapport, discussing her future, and offering seemingly helpful guidance, all for free. Only at the end did he disclose that he would personally make a commission if she chose to invest. That disclosure changed everything. But instead of simply feeling less trusting, Sunita felt increased pressure to comply. She was caught between her growing skepticism and her desire not to signal distrust. Suddenly, her pager rang, and she was called away to see a patient, saved by the bell. Later, away from Dan's presence, she clearly saw that investing wasn't right for her situation. This story illuminates the kinds of pressure that can elicit compliance and the fundamental distinction between compliance and consent. We often treat these words as interchangeable, but in fact they're two quite different forms of saying yes. Compliance is a response to external pressure, whether from social expectations, authority, or systemic constraints. We comply when we sign unread terms of service agreements or agree to unnecessary medical procedures we may not fully understand. Moments of acquiescence like these lack the elements of true consent, even if we've agreed verbally or in writing. So, what are the elements of true consent? The medical field offers a powerful framework that answers this question. Informed consent has 5 characteristics: capacity, knowledge, understanding, freedom, and authorization. Let's go over each. Capacity speaks to our mental and cognitive ability to make decisions, whether we're clear-headed, unimpaired, and able to process information. Knowledge means that we have accurate, complete information about the choice. Understanding goes yet deeper. It means we genuinely comprehend the implications and consequences of the facts at hand. Freedom means having a real choice, including the practical ability to say no. Finally, authorization represents our explicit, affirmative decision. This last element means very little without the other four supports beneath it. Real-world situations regularly compromise these elements. An employee could sign a contract without having the practical freedom to refuse. Someone might join a gym without understanding the membership agreement's fine print. Scenarios like these produce the appearance of consent even though its substance is missing. When a doctor recommends a treatment while standing over their patient, or a software update demands acceptance before the device will function, the conditions required for true consent are undermined. By understanding the elements of informed consent, we can better identify situations where we're being pushed toward compliance rather than offered a genuine choice. In a world that often seems designed to elicit our compliance, becoming aware of these 5 aspects is the first step toward reclaiming our power and agency. 4. Who am I? The tension between who we are and how we act emerges frequently in professional settings. Consider Sunita's encounter with Pradnya, an Indian immigrant who'd undergone a forced hysterectomy at age 24. When other doctors dismissed Pradnya's ongoing health complaints due to her limited English, making jokes about difficult patients in the break room, Sunita recognized a profound disconnect between medical ideals and actual practice. It crystallized how institutions, even those dedicated to healing, can perpetuate social inequalities and injustice. Experiences like these force us to confront essential questions about identity and action. Who am I? What kind of situation is this? What does someone like me do in this situation? Taken together, these 3 questions form the Defiance Compass, a navigational tool for introspective decision-making. When navigating challenging situations, we can repeatedly ask ourselves these questions, letting each answer inform the others. Gaps between our values and actions often announce themselves through our internal dialogue. So, if you start to feel that something doesn't sit right for you, pay attention. It's a crucial warning sign, signaling a cognitive dissonance between your self-image and your behavior. If we don't pay attention to this discrepancy, our outward behavior can gradually reshape our private beliefs, eroding our core identity. Consider the case of Jeffrey Wigand at Brown Williamson Tobacco Company. As a biochemist with a healthcare background, Wigand initially rationalized his role as developing safer cigarettes. But eventually, the growing disconnect between his value of integrity and the company's deceptions about their harmful products was unbearable. He became a whistleblower. In the end, his decision wasn't just about exposing corporate wrongdoing. It was about preserving his fundamental sense of self. Acting on our values demands more than mere recognition. It requires the courage to face institutional pressure and the wisdom to choose defiance. It asks us to maintain and nurture our values against the steady erosion of daily compromises and institutional demands. This understanding transforms how we approach difficult decisions. Defiance isn't a character trait, something you either possess or lack, but rather a practice that flows from maintaining our connection to what we care about most. 5. Practicing defiance. The ability to say no in moments that matter isn't a trait we're born with. It's a skill we can cultivate. Like strengthening a muscle or mastering an instrument, our capacity for principled defiance grows through deliberate practice and preparation. With each attempt, successful or not, we create neural pathways that make future acts of defiance easier. The transformation from compliance to conscious defiance unfolds in 5 distinct stages. It starts with an internal tension, that visceral discomfort when something doesn't align with our values. Recognizing this discomfort marks the 2nd stage, where we consciously acknowledge our unease rather than suppress it. The 3rd stage involves voicing our concerns to others, while the 4th requires clearly stating our intention to resist. The final stage is taking concrete action. Even reaching the early stages without completing the sequence builds valuable experience. Consider Officer Kevin, who found himself facing pressure to conduct an illegal garage search. His voice trembled, and his childhood stutter emerged as he confronted his superiors, but his previous mental preparation, imagining exactly this type of scenario in the wake of George Floyd's death, had equipped him to progress through all 5 stages. Though his hands and voice shook, he stood firm in his refusal. Fear plays a fascinating dual role in the psychology of defiance. The same anxiety that typically drives compliance can, when properly channeled, become a catalyst for action. Kevin's acute awareness of potential tragic consequences, an innocent homeowner confronting intruders, a situation spiraling into violence, transformed his fear into resolve. Through repeated exposure and practice, our brains can rewire this relationship with fear, making principled resistance feel increasingly natural. But successful defiance rarely emerges spontaneously. Mental rehearsal and visualization create cognitive blueprints we can access under pressure. The ancient Greek poet Archilochus wrote, "Under duress we do not rise to our expectations but fall to the level of our training." This is why seemingly small acts of resistance serve as crucial training grounds. Each time we question a dubious procedure or challenge a problematic practice, we strengthen the neural architecture that enables more consequential acts of defiance. It's this readiness that divides those who speak up and those who remain silent. Through consistent preparation and incremental acts of defiance, we build the scaffolding that enables us to do the right thing when it matters most. Final summary. Defy. The power of no in a world that demands yes is a powerful guide to reclaiming your time, energy, and boundaries. Sunita Sah combines psychological insights with practical strategies, offering a roadmap for saying no with confidence and grace. Saying no is not just a skill, it's a necessity for living a balanced, fulfilling life. By setting boundaries, you can protect your well-being, focus on your priorities, and build healthier relationships. Whether you're a people pleaser, a busy professional, or someone struggling with burnout, this book provides actionable tools to help you say no and live more intentionally. Ready to embrace the power of no? Start by identifying one area of your life where you need to set boundaries and practice saying no to small requests. If this summary inspired you, grab a copy of Defy and take the first step toward a more empowered and intentional life. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Guide to Reads for more transformative book insights. Remember, saying no is not selfish, it's self-care.